We are almost there. It's been a long day. Many, many good presentations, I think. A lot of food for thought. So we heard about the peer review, safety culture peer review, and the 22 project. We were learning from other industries. We heard about incident and learning from incidents and learning from monitoring. And if you do remember, how many remember what Gregory said in the morning? Does anybody remember that Gregory introduced 3 commentators in the morning?
Oh, yes, and we were wondering.
Ah, good. It's coming back now. Huh? Long day. So in a minute, I will ask our 3 commentators, because they have been asked to do Mission Impossible, to capture their impressions of the entire day and give that impression to us in 5 minutes. And I will ask one at a time to come on stage to give your thoughts from the day. And we will start with the operational part. So Lars, please take the stage for your 5 minutes. Give Lars a hand, please. And by the way, there will be no question and answer sessions after this. It's just food for thoughts and reflections.
You are very brave.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me on? This mic is working? Yeah, great, thanks. Yeah, thank you for having me here. Indeed, it's a tough job because I don't even know almost how to start, because it's excellent presentations. I broke it down to a mnemonic, and I'm, as introduced this morning, I'm a consultant. But furthermore, I'm also a pilot. I type rated on A320. So I hopefully can bring the operational side in my summary also into this review. And I've been a lead auditor, so compliance monitoring, I know it by heart, and instructor on safety procedures for many, many years. So I hope I can contribute from that aviation side a little bit more. And so I was happy to see the colleagues also, of course, contributing today. Excellent. Thank you. So I have the mnemonic, which is support safety. Support means S, safety first. We are all agreeing. We heard that. ICAO Doc 9683, which is a Bible for human performance in aviation, tells that the most efficient companies or operators are usually also the most safest. So that's a very good conclusion, because we're talking here about resources the whole day long already. I picked that up, started with a peer review asking, yes, please, we need more resources and training resources and all that. So support. The U stands for understanding. Yeah, so, and I liked the presentation, that part with the nuclear power plant and the aviation sector, but also we saw it along all presentations. We need to keep it down into a KISS principle, keep it easy and simple. The people need to understand what we want from them. And that's a bottom-up approach and top-down approach at the same time. And so we have to involve our people. It's people. By the end of the day, we're all people. We're speaking about human errors. We saw that in all areas, in all industries, and we have to, basically cater for that. So the people are not alone. We have the processes. We saw that. We have manuals. To fly an Airbus, you have to read more than 12,000 pages. Sorry, I never read them all from A to B. To the end, yeah, I'm honest with you guys. But what it needs is also good training and the tools. We have electronic flight bags. Yeah? So to fly that aircraft, performance calculations and so on, much more easier than when I started flying, where I had to go through manuals and so on. So the people need to be supported, right? And they need to be understood. So the colleague from the train driver union expressed excellent. You feel sometimes in that process to be alone in the forefront, right? Because you as a train driver or me as a pilot at night in nasty conditions, we have to bring the train or the aircraft safely to the destination. So we need the support, right, for that. And important for that is the organization, the regulations. I see, and what helped very much in the aviation industry is the really hard law in request for compliance monitoring safety management system on a European level. It's a little bit different to ERA, where you have speaking about a directive, implementing it on a national level. But EASA requires on a European level to have everything in order, implemented. And that includes also for training aircrew regulations, for example. Human performance training is mandatory for crews. So every year we are trained on, we call it CRM, crew resource management. And actually the perfect idea would be to have the management on board all the time too, so that there's a constant exchange in between management and the staff. So, but all this, I'm telling nothing new, was mentioned today, here and there, so I don't want to pick out anybody specifically, but it's all said. From the support, the R stands for risks and benefits. We know, meanwhile, the importance of risk analysis. That's a safety training 2 aspect. So going away from the old looking at accidents and incidents, which help for sure, but the new approach being proactive. And and then here also, it is important to let our people know what kind are the tools. As a pilot, I'm using the so-called 4-deck model, very helpful. I collect facts, I collect my options and my risks, and based on that, I take a decision, I execute, and I recheck. And that is for every level, in any case, always a helpful tool. But how do we get to that? Training and team building. And I think that's tomorrow's topic also, fostering training. And so thank you very much for your attention and my little summary.
Thank you very much, Lars, for capturing the support throughout the day. So our next commentator with the perspective of this National Safety Authority, Amélia, please take the stage.
Thank you, Kim, for the presentation. And dear hosts, dear colleagues from the Estonian authorities, dear agency colleagues, Joseph, Bart, Gregory, Kim. I want to mention Sarah, Rosa, and Hélène that are really behind also the work that involves putting this agency in a place that is not the place where they work. So to the safety team and to the comms team, thank you very much. And obviously, thanks for everyone. We had a very rich day. To the speakers, thank you very much to the speakers, participants, all of the contributions you gave, also the online participants. I understand we have 230 participants in the room, plus 70 online. So that makes 300 people committed to safety and that are here to learn about how to improve safety. Coming from an NSA, I want to mention that I flicked through the participants list, and we have 45 people here in the room that come from the regulators. We got a request from Michaela this morning. She asked us to do our job very well. So I think 45 people from NSAs that in many cases are not enough staffed shows a lot of commitment from our side. And I want to mention the 16 countries that are present here from the NSA side. So it's Estonia, Belgium, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, Latvia, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Serbia, Slovakia, Spain, Switzerland, and the UK. So I'm mentioning specifically all this and running the risk of passing my 5 minutes, because I really want you to know that we are here to learn from each other, and this is really an opportunity to come and speak to us and speak to each other. So on the panel 1 on safety culture peer reviews, as an NSA, we can see different levels of maturities in different companies when we go and do our supervision activities. We have companies that are very happy and open to discuss, and they are open to learn how they could improve their procedures and their best practices. But we also have some companies that are still very defensive. So I can see the strong case here for peer reviews on safety culture, because peer reviews, they offer this opportunity of creating trust and creating a safe environment among the peers without the boring NSAs involved, where they can learn, discuss challenges, practical cases, and identify best practices. So my only message here is that if in a further development of this project, maybe you could mix up a little bit peers that are from more advanced companies on safety culture with other companies that are maybe a little bit less advanced on safety culture. On the panel 2, learning from critical sectors, rail, nuclear, aviation, and maritime. What do we have in common? We have in common strong safety records. But it's a safety record that comes with very, very high impact and serious, very serious consequences when something goes wrong. But most days nothing goes wrong. So most days everything is fine. And this requires a lot of leadership to keep the focus on looking daily at what the safety data is telling us. So even when everything is fine and nothing happens, we have to look at this data on a daily basis anyway, so that we can learn from all events. But again, this requires organizations open to learn. And we heard that legislation can encourage, from the aviation sector, we heard that legislation, in their case, encouraged a reporting culture. I believe it does. Certainly for me, it helps on enforcement measures if we have legislation available. But legislation doesn't implement culture. So we still need to have to make sure that the right culture is in place, so that all the reports are actually reported. So final message here is that strong safety record comes with a challenge of avoid complacency and to seek excellence and not to move into minimum compliance. And this is only possible with strong leadership. On the panel 3, learning from investigations, we heard the NIBs and also other safety investigations, also people involved in other safety investigations. So I am very proud to say that we have a very good cooperation with our NIB. So Nelson is also from Portugal, as I am. And we understood from the beginning that we were going in the same direction. And this this helps a lot in pushing the sector to implement the safety recommendations. So NIBs, they play a key role in the learning process. I would say the only reason they are there is for learning, for improving safety. They obviously need the right resources in place and the right working environment. But this is a benefit for all. It is not only a benefit for the sector, it is a benefit for the whole society. Investigations not for blame, they are there only for the purpose of learning. So if we don't manage to learn from that, then we fail to understand what the purpose of these investigations are. They are key to prevent future accidents, and that is a mission we all share. On the specific point of human factors, I think it's been acknowledged for many decades that humans make mistakes, but still today we find that organizations fail to put the right barriers in place to mitigate these human errors. So I got the message that you cannot stop in the first why when you are investigation. So if you have small children, you can practice with them. They can play this game. They can ask why many times. So if you think you can't do it, you can practice with them. On panel number 4, learning from monitoring. So monitoring is, I retain that monitoring is based on a reporting culture that is followed by systematic work of monitoring, analyzing, taking measures, checking effectiveness, and then again the whole cycle again. Monitoring, analyzing, taking measures, checking effectiveness, and so on. I also was very impressed with the presentations on the technology side. So technology offers us opportunity to really improve safety. We have rich data and wider tools, but it also comes with challenges. So the availability of data is obviously the first one, but I would also underline the consideration of human and organizational factors in this kind of more mathematical models. So these are my takeaways of the day. I hope they are useful to you as well, and I wish you a very nice dinner tonight.
Many thanks, Amelia. And it's true. I'm actually, as you calculated the participation from the NSAs, it's a very strong commitment. Good observation. Thanks for that. We're grateful that you're all here. So, last commentator, not least, from the research, Jean-Christophe Coze. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So yeah, great challenge, 5 minutes. So I've already, okay, 4:53, okay. Wow. Okay, I've got another problem, is to read my notes now, if you have a look at that. So I'm going to try to do my best. Well, of course, thank you for the invitation, the organizers, the presenters, the panelists, and the moderators. It was excellent. A lot of work, a lot of commitment there from everybody. And a lot of creativity in the way things were put together. So it was a very excellent moment for me, and there's another day, obviously, tomorrow. 4 points, and I'll be brief. First, about context. Second, about the real life. I'll say a few words about that. The importance of history, the trajectory of systems, their evolution. And a last point about people. So, the first one of the 4 points is the importance of understanding context. And I think it was brilliant that we had these different perspectives from maritime, from nuclear, from aviation, from railway, and therefore we could compare, but contrast mostly, I think. Of course, you can see similarities, but you hear also in the background a lot of differences because we're not dealing with the same systems. And I think that is something that we need to really understand. Very early on in research, safety research started as a kind of an academic or scholarship in the 1980s, and, at least in the social sciences. We could go back a little bit earlier, but let's say that, for instance, the work of Charles Perrow, normal accidents was very important. And at the time, he was already, as a researcher and sociologist, he was an American sociologist, comparing systems. And he was very explicit about the fact that systems have different achievement because of the way they are actually designed to perform safely or not. And he was comparing them and already at the time putting maritime a little bit behind, nuclear and aviation at the top, perhaps that railway somewhere, perhaps at the top, in the middle, I don't know. I'm not an expert in the railway system description and understanding, but you have a great achievement. But the context matters tremendously. And you could hear this when we had these presentations on the peer review process by Kim, by Doris, by Virginie. When we could hear also from the nuclear industry, the peer review process being implemented and differences. It has to come with resources, with the type of public dread that the system creates. So there are lots of differences there, and I think it's very important to keep this in mind. We don't necessarily always have the kind of mindset to describe at the level required the difference between the systems. That was my first point. Second point is, let's not separate safety from real life. Safety is not something that is outside the real processes, the daily processes of companies. There are business constraints. There are real difficulties in companies. I spend a lot of time for my research and consulting, observing, interviewing people, and seeing the realities of companies. Let's not separate safety from what happens in reality. And I think it was like forcefully expressed in the maritime industry through the Raphael's talk. But we could hear also by Nelson the difficulties of recruiting people. So there are realities out there, and safety is a product of these realities. So when we talk about safety, we talk about organization, we talk about strategy, we talk about businesses, the real life. So let's make sure that we bring this in the picture. The third point is history. Organizations change, the world changes, and with this comes challenges, and it was brilliant that some of the presentations, they were tackling this. So some people emphasized, and several occasions, I think we've heard about the transformation of systems. They're increasing complexity. We're talking about network organizations, the fact that you have fragmented systems through the way the world has evolved over the past 20 to 30 years, including globalization and all sorts of things. That also is the case, of course, that technology contributes to these changes and the complexities associated. We talked about big data or about digital technology. Julia, Martinas, they talked about this. And society evolves, so therefore we need to be able to bring this into the picture. And therefore some of the presentations are very good in this respect. But that brings a sort of paradox about learning, because if we try to project ourselves in the future, how do we learn about the future? Okay, so that's an interesting question that we have for ourselves. And the last point, the fourth point, is the importance of people. The importance of humans, the importance of the interactions between humans, and our ability to actually talk about this, to describe this, and to understand the conditions for these interactions to be of quality, and therefore allowing safety to be part of the performance of companies. So the importance of dialogue, of conversations, and I think it's been emphasized somehow, and also a word that I liked, I think has been used a few times, the importance of narratives. What sort of narratives do we build about the way safety is produced in system, and how do we are in a position to actually create the alternative narrative to some of the reductive one about human error, for instance? How do we talk about systems, but not only about systems, how people in systems interact and create safety? So these are my 4 points: context, real life, history, trajectory of systems, and the importance of people, and talking about people through narratives. That's it.
Many thanks to the three of you. Very, very good food for thought there as well, Jean-Christophe. Thanks a lot. Before I introduce our very last speaker from Eesti Raudtee, I want, on behalf of the team organizing, thank your company a lot. Not at least Christy. Where are you, Christy? Thanks a lot for. Wrong Christy, isn't it? There you are. Sorry. Thanks a lot for all your support, Christy. We couldn't have done this without you. And that brings me to the final words today from Mr. Kaido Zimmermann, Eesti Raudtee, Chairman of the Board, Director General of Eesti Raudtee, to conclude the day. Mr. Zimmermann is a railway professional with a long history within railways, with a master in railway constructions. So infrastructure, I suppose, is your main domain?
Yes.
Please
30 years with railways, different railways, mainly Estonian railways, then Latvian railways and Rail Baltic as also in my. So welcome in Estonia. We were very pleased when agency chose Tallinn to be the next or this year safety of rail conference place. So, and we are really pleased that we can help you a little bit to organize that. And I will give you a small overview about site visits on Friday. But before that, some words about the safety on Estonian Railway. So our safety culture started September 2001. That's related with privatization of Estonian Railways. And in September 2001, the owners of Estonian Railway were investors from America, from UK, some investors from Estonia. And this was the first time when we heard word safety first. Before that, we came from the Soviet system, Soviet railway. The most important was unloading the wagons and loading the wagons. And this time, it was the first time when Americans told that no, human being is before wagons. And from that moment, the Estonian Railway safety culture started. Of course, we have developed a lot this time, but there's still a lot to do. Like Americans introduced the first time in Estonia and probably also in Europe, the Operation Lifesaver. What you will hear tomorrow morning, the first presentation will be from manager of that, who have been from very beginning and this. And we have done a lot, but still there is many other things to do. And when we heard about the reporting, then it's also a problem in Estonia that sometimes we hear that something happened, some incidents from the passengers, from police, from some other outsiders, not from the operators. We have in Estonia at the moment one passenger operator and 17 freight operators. From them, 5 is the big ones who are really working with freight. The others are small shunting operators. And they are afraid to tell us if something happening, and that's also a problem that they are not reporting. But we will improve that, and all other matters. What I heard today afternoon is also very important for us, and that's we are working with all these the same fields and improving the safety. But Friday you have 3 different site visits, technical visits. First is Muuga Harbor. Muuga Harbor and Muuga Port were the biggest freight station and port in Estonia. At the moment, it's almost empty because the war in Ukraine. We don't have much freight at all. There is only few freight trains in Estonia internally moving, and hopefully we can see some of them tomorrow. But the port itself, of course, is working, and we can show you then the area where the future Rail Baltic multimodal terminal will be built, and explain how this is going to be done. Second visit is Elron's maintenance depot. At the moment, we have only 1 depot in Estonia. Originally, there was three, but the trains are much better now, than less maintenance needed, so we can manage with 1 depot, and Elron then will show you what they are doing there. And the third visit is Estonian Academy of Security Sciences, where you can see the simulation tool, what we have developed together with this academy, where the real railway accidents can be analyzed. So there is not only railway, but there is also the maritime accidents and everything, but we are working with them to develop our tool. And these who will go there, you will understood so that you will put into the situation when you need to solve some accidents, that you will have these VR glasses, you will go into the train, you will see the problems here or people blood somewhere, and then you need to organize that mess there through these tools. So I hope that will be really interesting what you can study there. So that's all from my side, and I hope these 3 days will be very interesting for you, and we can share our experience with you.
So, just a little practical information. We are at the very end of the day. Thanks a lot for your participation, for all the questions, for a reasonable behavior for most of you. Now we are at the end of today. So tomorrow morning we start at 9 sharp. Train leaves the platform at 9 with Operation Lifesaver tomorrow. But we have the networking dinner, and as the weather has been fairly poor, we have decided to organize some buses. Okay, it changed, good. I was just a bit confused here, sorry. So please take a photo of the times when we depart. It's of course not possible for all 250 people to be in one bus, so we will have to see. We will not do registrations or anything like that, so you're either with the bus or not. Should you, for some reason, miss the bus, can we go back to the other slide again? Please use the QR code, it's for Google Maps. So you know how to get to the venue. You can use your badge with the public transport as well to get there, to go there for free if you should, for some whatever reason, miss the bus. And otherwise, it's a 30 minutes walk. For all of you, you can dress casual. There's no requirements for anything. And please remember to bring your badge so we can see that you should actually be able to access. The bus, thanks Joseph. The buses will leave just outside the hotel in front of the reception. Thanks a lot, everybody. See you tomorrow. Give yourself a hand.